I look at my watch, an old mechanical watch with a worn leather strap. It's exactly 4 o'clock, the time Evelyn used to make tea. 3 years have passed, and I still look forward to that moment every day. It must be funny. That's what Winona thinks. Funny and ridiculous. Grandpa lives in the last century, she says when she thinks I can't hear. My house in a quiet neighborhood in Spanish Springs now seems too big. After 48 years of marriage, the silence presses on my ears. I run my fingers along the back of the chair Evelyn liked to read in. The leather is cracked from time, just like my hands. At 73, you start to notice how your body lets you down in the little things. The phone rings. A landline with a long cord. Another occasion for Winona's ridicule. Why don't you use a smartphone, Waldron? It's the 21st century. I pick up the phone. Seru, Dad, it's me. Kenneth's voice sounds tired. Remind me about dinner tonight. 7 o'clock, our place. You don't need to bring anything. I remember, son. I don't have sclerosis yet. Awkward pause. Our conversations are always like this now. Short, awkward, as if we were strangers, not father and son. Okay, I'll see you tonight. As I hang up the phone, I sigh heavily. After Evelyn's death, Kenneth visited me less often. First, he blamed it on his law firm, then on renovations to his and Winona's new house. Now we're on a schedule, every other week for dinner, like a business meeting. My pension is more than adequate. My years of running a technology company called Novatech were not in vain. But I prefer to live modestly. What's an old man need for excesses? Winona doesn't understand that. For her, ostentatious luxury is a sign of success. She works in marketing at Aurora Innovations and considers herself indispensable. Every time she brags about her achievements, mentions the names of her clients, talks about corporate meetings. I have little interest in this, but I nod politely. Before I go out, I choose my suit carefully. Not because I want to impress, I don't care what Winona thinks. It's just that Evelyn always said, Waldron, you must look dignified no matter what happens. I settle on a navy blue jacket and gray vest. Classic, conservative. Old-fashioned, as Winona would say. Kenneth and Winona's house is in an upscale neighborhood. 3-story structure with panoramic windows and landscaping. It's a little too fancy for my taste, but they love it. I park my old Ford between Winona's gleaming Mercedes and Kenneth's SUV. My car is an eyesore in the midst of all this luxury. My son opens the door. Something like warmth flashes in his eyes for a moment, but quickly fades. Dad, come on in. He shakes my hand. Not a hug like he used to. The house inside screams money. Marble countertops, designer furniture, paintings in heavy frames. I remember when Evelyn and I set up our first home, a modest apartment on the outskirts of town. Kenneth was born there. He was happy there. Now he looks like he's always afraid of something. Waldron! Winona comes out of the kitchen in a cloud of expensive perfume. I'm glad you took the time. Her smile doesn't affect her eyes. Tall, slender, with perfectly styled blonde hair and flawless makeup. 38 years old and looking younger thanks to the regular treatments she keeps telling me about. Thank you for inviting me, Winona. Come into the dining room. Dinner is almost ready. She's looking at my suit. Oh, you're back in that, interesting ensemble. Amazing fidelity to style. I don't react to the barb. I'm used to it. The dining room sparkles with crystal and silver. Everything is on display. Even the food is more for beauty than satiation. Winona serves some complicated dish with a French name. It's foie gras with truffle sauce and port wine reduction, she announces proudly. It looks interesting, I reply, remembering the simple but hearty dinners Evelyn used to make. Interesting? Winona purses her lips. It's from a 2-Michelin-starred chef. I took a masterclass specifically to learn how to make it. Dad, try it, Kenneth intervenes. Winona spent all day making it. I obediently try it. The flavor is unusual, but stranger than pleasant. Very modern, I say diplomatically. Winona rolls her eyes. Surely you'd prefer mashed potatoes and chops, like in the 50s. Kenneth pretends not to hear, studying the contents of his plate. By the way, Ken and I are thinking about a Mediterranean cruise. Winona changes the subject. 12 days, 5 countries. It would be an amazing itinerary. Sounds great, I nod. Yes, I've recently been promoted. I'm now the deputy head of the marketing department. She smiles smugly. Although I'm actually the manager now, because Pierce isn't doing a very good job. I think I'll have his job soon. Oh, congratulations. Thank you, chuckles. Winona's sipping her wine. What have you been up to lately, Waldron? Still collecting stamps? Not stamps, coins, I correct him. Yes, it's a fascinating pastime. Oh my God, you're like a child with those coins. She laughs, turning to Kenneth. Your father never grew up, did he? My son smiles nervously, not looking me in the eye. Winona, don't start. What? I just find it amusing that a man of his age wastes his time on such primitive entertainment. She turns to me with feigned concern. You might want to look for something more modern. Online courses maybe, or social media. Start an Instagram. Post pictures of your, uh, pennies. I don't think my coins will interest the Instagram audience, I reply calmly. Anyone can interest the audience. The main thing is the right pitch. It's the basics of marketing. She looks at me like an unreasonable child. Of course, you don't realize that. Your generation is used to newspaper ads and TV commercials. I didn't say anything. It was ironic that she was saying this to me, a man who'd been running a major technology company for 20 years. But neither she nor Kenneth knows about my past. After I retired, I decided not to publicize my accomplishments. Evelyn said I was too modest, but I'm comfortable staying in the shadows. Speaking of television, Winona continued, it's high time you updated your appliances. That antique in your house is a museum piece. It works, why change it? For quality, resolution, modern features. She's splashing her hands. Sonoi, Ken, tell your dad that living like it's the last century is weird. Dad, maybe we should really upgrade some things. Kenneth tentatively suggests. We could help pick out. Thank you, but that won't be necessary, I replied firmly. Stubbornness is another old-school trait, Winona snorts. No wonder you live alone. A modern woman would have a hard time with such a conservative man. Kenneth wrinkles his nose but remains silent. In the past, he would have stood up for me. Now he's afraid to contradict his wife. I don't think I should be thinking about a romantic relationship at my age, I say, feeling a muffled irritation growing inside. Why not? Lots of people are finding a couple in their old age nowadays. She winks. You should try dating sites. I could help you set up a profile. Winona, Kenneth finally intervenes. Let's change the subject. I'm just trying to help, she looks offended. Your father is stuck in this old house with these old things, with his old-fashioned habits. He needs to shake things up. I'm quite comfortable, I reply. Not everyone has to live for show. Winona narrows her eyes. What do you mean? Just that different people have different priorities. Do you think I'm living a showy life? Her voice turns icy. Winona, I'm sure that's not what Father meant, Kenneth says hastily. No, let him explain. She folds her arms across her chest. Are you criticizing our way of life, Waldron? Our home? My work? My accomplishments? I look at my son. There's a plea in his eyes. Not to make things worse. I sigh. Not at all. I'm just saying that I'm comfortable with the way I live my life. Ah, and I'm comfortable with the way I live, Winona parries. The difference is that I'm not stuck in the past. I'm evolving, growing professionally, moving forward. And you, she pauses, looking me over from head to toe. You're like a museum piece. Old suit, old watch, old habits. Even the jokes are old. Remember, Ken, when he told that telegram joke at the last dinner? The telegram. Who knows what that is now? Kenneth smiles awkwardly. Winona, let's not. No, seriously. She's already gone. I'm trying to be polite, trying to mend relationships, but it's so hard when your father-in-law refuses to live in the real world. Do you know he still pays his bills by check, going to the bank every month instead of setting up autopay? It's the Stone Age. I have my reasons, I reply, feeling my anger rising. No. What reasons could there possibly be for something so ridiculous? She snorts derisively. Fear of technology? Distrust of the internet? Or just senile stubbornness? That's enough, I say quietly but firmly. I don't have to explain every decision I make. See, Ken? That's how he always is. Winona sighs theatrically. No dialogue, just, I've made up my mind. Typical patriarchy. Kenneth looks exhausted. Let's just have a quiet dinner, okay? We eat in silence for a few minutes. Then Winona starts again. By the way, you might want to update your closet, Waldron. These vests and three-piece suits, you look like a character in a historical movie. There are great stores where you can find something a little more modern for your age. My closet suits me fine, I replied, trying to remain calm. But you don't want to look ridiculous, do you? She smiles with feigned concern. People must be looking at you on the street. Winona, Kenneth says warningly. What? I care about your father? She turns to me. You know, Waldron, the problem with people of your generation is that you refuse to recognize the obvious. The world has changed, and you either change with it or you become, the weird old man that everybody laughs at. I look at my son. He's avoiding my gaze, studying the contents of his plate. He won't stand up for me. Winona continues, my colleagues and I were recently discussing how difficult it is to work with the older generation of clients. They don't understand modern marketing. They don't embrace new media. They demand printed materials. She rolls her eyes. Such a waste of resources and time. And one client, he's probably in his 70s like you, demanded that we fax him reports. Fax? We didn't even know if we had such a machine. She laughs, expecting Kenneth to join in. He squeezes out a smile. Sometimes the old ways work better than the new, I say calmly. Oh, of course, Winona splashes her hands theatrically. And a steam train is better than an electric train, and candles are better than light bulbs. Why do we even use this awful electricity, right, Waldron? Kenneth clears his throat. Vina, I think you're overreacting. I'm just kidding, darling. She puts her hand on his shoulder. Your father knows I speak with love. Don't you, Waldron? Love. He does. I nod, not wanting to continue this farce. Of course. You see, she looks triumphantly at her husband. Your father and I have a perfect understanding. Dinner continues. Winona talks about her vacation plans, about the new car they are going to buy, about meeting an important client. Kenneth is silent, occasionally inserting brief comments. I eat without tasting. When dessert is served and some complex layered cake, Winona returns to her favorite topic. By the way, Waldron, I saw some interesting computer courses for seniors on the internet. Maybe you should sign up. Learn how to use a smartphone, make accounts in social networks. Thank you, but no, I answer. Why not? Are you afraid of new technology? She tilts her head as if studying a rare exhibit. It's normal for your generation, but you shouldn't be afraid. My nephew, who's 8, is very good with an iPad. I'm sure you'll do just fine. I'm gripping my fork tighter. Evelyn would put her hand on mine right now, reassuring me. But Evelyn isn't here, and I'm alone against this woman. Winona, I ran a technology company for 20 years. I'm not afraid of technology. I just prefer not to waste time on social media. She looks surprised for a moment, then she smiles condescendingly again. Oh, Waldron, what a lovely fantasy. What kind of company did you run? A radio parts store? Kenneth looks confused. Dad, you never told me. Because it doesn't matter. I cut him off. It's in the past. See, Ken? Winona winks at her husband. Your father has an imagination. First the coins, now the imaginary company. What's next? Will he say he was an astronaut? Something inside me breaks. I get up from the table. Thank you for dinner. I gotta go. Dad, wait. Kenneth's getting up too. Ah. Oh, come on, Waldron. Winona's waving her hand. I'm kidding. Don't you have a sense of humor? I look at her for a long moment, then at my son. Kenneth, call me when you're ready to talk without an escort. Winona gasps with indignation. What do you mean? How dare you speak like that in my house? I don't answer. I turn around and walk away. I hear Kenneth behind me trying to calm his wife, who is demanding an apology. I get in my old car and drive home. To silence. To solitude. Evelyn would say I should be above this. Should be wise. But all I feel today is bitterness and disappointment. In whining. In a son who can't stand up for his father. In myself for letting it get this far. At home, I sit in Evelyn's chair and stare out the window. At 73, I find myself alone again. Without a wife, with an estranged son, and a daughter-in-law for whom I am nothing but an object of ridicule. I chuckled bitterly. Technology company. She didn't even believe it. Maybe it's for the best. Why would she want to know who I was? The phone rings. A cell phone, not a landline. Not many people know that number. A name pops up on the screen, Horace Woodward, an old friend we started in business with back in the 80s. He now owns Aurora Innovations, the same company where Winona works. That's ironic. I hesitate to answer, but eventually I pick up the phone. Maybe this is fate. Maybe it's time for a change. Waldron, old boy, how good to see you. Horace Woodward rises from his seat as I enter the restaurant. Despite his 76 years, he looks energetic. Tall, trim, with a neatly trimmed gray beard and lively blue eyes. Only wrinkles and age spots on his hands give away his age. We hug like old friends, which we are. 40 years of acquaintance is no joke. We started out together in the technology business when computers took up entire rooms and the internet was just a scientist's dream. Horace, you look great, I say, sitting down across from him. He waves me off. Come on, Wall. You're not fooled. I've lost 12 pounds in the last 2 months, and it's not because I've been dieting. I'm just now noticing how loose his jacket is. It used to be tighter. And his eyes, they have a tiredness in them that Horace's trademark smile can't hide. What's going on? I ask you directly. The waiter brings the menu. Horace orders only tea with lemon. I choose the same. I lost my appetite when I saw my friend's condition. Pancreatic cancer, he says simply when the waiter leaves. Stage 3, discovered a month ago. I'm out of breath. Pancreatic cancer is serious. Very serious. Horace, don't offer condolences, Wall. He raises his hand to stop me. That's not why I called you here. I have a treatment plan. Experimental therapy at the Mayo Clinic. My oncologist says there's a chance. When do you start? I leave for Rochester in a week. It's a 6-month course if all goes well. And the company, Horace is smiling. This is the real reason we're meeting. Aurora Innovations is my brainchild, you know. I've spent the last 12 years putting my soul into it. I don't want it to go to hell during my absence. I nod understandingly. Business is like a child, especially for people like us, childless widowers who are fully committed to their work. The board of directors? I ask. Horace snorts. Sharks. Half of them are just waiting for me to get weak enough to tear the company apart. No, I don't trust them. CEO, Philip Raven. He's a good administrator, but he's too soft. They'll eat him up in a week. Horace is leaning across the table to me. I need you, Wall. I freeze with my cup of tea halfway to my mouth. Me? Yeah, you. Temporarily take over the company while I'm in treatment. 6 months, a year tops. You know the business. You have experience. You won't let those vultures tear up what I've been building. I put my cup down slowly. Horace, I've been retired for 5 years. And before that, my company was in a very different technology. The principles are the same. He waves it off. Aurora now specializes in data analysis software and marketing solutions. You don't need to know the technical details. There's a team for that. I need someone who can hold the helm and keep the ship from going down. Someone I trust. I'm looking at my old friend. We've been through a lot together. Economic crises, technological revolutions, personal loss. I was there for him when his wife Helen died. He stood by me when Evelyn was gone. I don't know, Horace. I'm used to a quiet life. Besides what? He's staring at me. Your sister-in-law works in marketing, I know. Is that a problem? You know Winona? I'm surprised. I don't know her personally, but I've heard of her. Horace chuckles. Ambitious person. Thinks she's the center of the universe. You sure she doesn't know you were the head of Novatech? No. I shook my head. I never publicized my past. After I retired, I preferred to live modestly. Kenneth knows, of course, but he's never told Winona. She thinks I'm just a plain old man with outdated views. Wow. Horace leaned back in his chair, obviously enjoying the situation. It's kind of funny. I can imagine her face when she finds out her father-in-law is the new head of the company. I don't share his amusement. It's going to cause a lot of problems, Horace. Family trouble. I think your family could use a shakeup. He's leaning forward again. Look, Wall, I understand your concerns, but think about yourself. Ever since Evelyn's gone, You've been in a world of your own. You've stopped talking to people. You've given up golf. You've given up traveling. That's not living. That's being. What he said is heartbreaking. Maybe he's right. Since Evelyn's death, it's like I've put life on pause. Every day is like the last. An empty house. Old memories, infrequent and unpleasant visits to my son and his wife. I have my hobbies, I object weakly. Coins? Horace snorts. Come on, Wall. You weren't made to pick through coppers in the silence of an empty house. You're a leader, a strategist. You built a company from the ground up and made it one of the top companies in the industry. And now I need you. He's taking a break. And I think you need me. Or rather, what I'm offering is a chance to feel alive again. I look out the restaurant window. It's autumn, my favorite season. Evelyn loved it too. We often took walks in the park, watching the leaves change color. Life doesn't end when the leaves fall, she used to say. It just comes to a new stage. I'll think about it, I say finally. Horace smiles. Good. Think fast. I don't have much time. I've already prepared the papers. Of course, he's decided everything in advance. That's Horace, always one step ahead. If I accept, I say slowly, it's on my own terms. I'm all ears. Complete freedom of action and management. No interference from the board of directors. Agreed. And no privileges for Winona. If she's a bad employee, she'll be held accountable like anyone else. Horace raises an eyebrow. Nepotism in reverse? Interesting, but I agree with that too. Anything else? I hesitate. Yes, I want my contract to be kept strictly confidential until I'm officially introduced. No leaks, no rumors. Thinking about how to break the news to the family? Horace nods understandingly. Good, it's a deal. You know I can keep a secret. We shake hands, sealing the agreement. There's a strange feeling inside me, a mixture of anxiety and anticipation, a feeling long forgotten. You know, Horace says, calling the waiter over for the bill. Somehow I'm sure this is the right decision, for both of us. I return home, pensive. By agreeing to help Horace, I realize that I'm getting involved in more than just temporarily running the company. I'm challenging myself, my habits, my lifestyle of the last few years, and perhaps my relationship with my son and his wife. Walking past the bedroom, I stop at the closet. In the far corner, my business suits, the ones I wore when I was head of Novatech, hang in their slipcovers. I unzip one of the pouches. The dark gray suit from a good tailor still looks immaculate. I try on the jacket. It fits a little looser than before, but overall not bad. Evelyn always said this suit made me look like a business shark. Maybe that's exactly the look I need right now. I spend the next few days preparing for my new role. Horace sends documents, financial reports, organizational structure, a list of key clients and projects. I study them, make notes, compose questions. My brain, long half asleep, is working at full capacity again. Aurora Innovations is a successful mid-sized company specializing in marketing data analysis software. 300 employees, offices in Spanish Springs and Portland, annual sales of 80 million. Good numbers, but there are problems. Higher than industry average employee turnover, a few stalled projects, strained relationships with some key clients. In the marketing department folder, I find Winona's name, deputy head of the department, just like she bragged about. But from the reports, her projects aren't the most successful. Lots of noise, little results. Typical. Kenneth calls on the third day after dinner. You can hear the tension in his voice. Dad, I wanted to apologize about Winona. She was in a bad mood and she took it out on me. I finish for him. The usual. There's a heavy sigh on the other end of the line. She's not angry, she just can be blunt. Straightforward is when they tell the truth to your face. What Winona's doing is disrespectful. Dad, it's okay, Kenneth. I'm used to it. My voice is steady, but there's a wave of bitterness rising inside. When did my son stop being on my side? When did he let that woman come between us? We'd like to take you out to dinner again, as an apology. I'm thinking about Horace's offer, about the new role that awaits me, about how our relationship will change when the truth comes out. Not now, I answer. I have business to attend to. Business? There's surprise in his voice. Of course, What business could an old man have? Something serious? It's no big deal. Just busy. After this conversation, I'm even more convinced that the decision to hide the new assignment from the family is the right one. Let it be a surprise to everyone. Next week, Horace leaves for medical treatment, having first introduced me to key members of the board of directors. Reactions range from wary acceptance to poorly concealed displeasure. Adrian Porter, the CFO who had sought Horace's seat, is particularly displeased. A tall, thin man with sharp features and a cold stare. Horace has chosen an unexpected candidate, he says after the meeting, when we're alone. I hope you realize that running a modern technology company is not the same as it was in your day. In my day, Mr. Porter, I reply calmly, we built the technology you use today, and the fundamentals of business haven't changed. A quality product, good service, good management. Everything else is details. He presses his lips together, but doesn't say anything else. First encounter, and definitely not the last. The official introduction of me as interim head of the company is scheduled for next Friday, as part of the quarterly corporate event. Until then, information is strictly confidential. Only senior management knows about the changes. I use this time to get to know the company better. I get to the office early in the morning when most employees haven't shown up yet and leave late. I study projects, review personnel files, talk to department heads without revealing my future role. I introduce myself as a consultant. The marketing department where Winona works turns out to be one of the most problematic. The head of the department, Pierce Langley, gives the impression of a man who is tired of his job. He is polite, but not particularly interested in improvement. The team is divided into factions, each with its own informal leader. Winona leads the noisiest of them. I watch her from afar without giving myself away. She talks loudly on the phone, gives instructions to her colleagues, takes long breaks over a cup of coffee. Lots of noise, little to do, just as I suspected. One time she walks past the meeting room where I'm sitting with my paperwork. She takes one fleeting glance and doesn't recognize me. No wonder, in a business suit with a briefcase and reading glasses, I look different from the old-fashioned father-in-law at home. In the evening back home, I sit down in Evelyn's chair, and for the first time in a long time, I feel satisfied. My brain is working, my body is full of energy. I'm needed again, back in business. You were right, darling, I say into the void, as if Evelyn might hear. Life doesn't end when the leaves fall. I imagine how she would smile when she heard that. She's always supported me, always believed in my strength, and admittedly, she never liked Winona. She doesn't love you, doesn't respect you, and doesn't appreciate what you've done for Kenneth, Evelyn said after the first time she met her future daughter-in-law. I brushed it off at the time. Say the girl is just nervous about meeting the groom's parents. But Evelyn saw right through people. The day before the corporate event, Kenneth calls again. Dad, are you really busy? Winona wants to make it up to you. She's even baking that apple pie you love. Not right now, Kenneth, I reply. Maybe next week. What's your deal? I can hear the irritation in his voice. You've never been busy before. Life is full of surprises, son, I say with a slight smile. By the way, what is Winona doing these days? Still working at Aurora Innovations? Yes, of course. He sounds surprised at the change of subject. She has some big corporate event tomorrow. She's very excited. Says there's going to be a big announcement from management. Maybe she'll be promoted to department head. Oh yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, she implied that Pierce Langley might be leaving. She's the next in command, so, Shimonen. Oh, I see. I can't help but smile. Well, wish her luck for me. After I talk to my son, I'm finalizing the final arrangements. I approve my contract with the legal department, discuss the format of tomorrow's announcement with the PR team, and go over my list of priorities. One of them includes restructuring the marketing department. In the evening, I stand in front of the mirror for a long time. The dark blue suit fits perfectly. I ordered it from a tailor this week. New haircut, polished shoes, gold cufflinks. A gift from Evelyn for 30 years of marriage. I look like an executive, like a man who can't be taken lightly. Tomorrow begins a new chapter in my life, and perhaps a new chapter in my relationship with my family too. I'm not gloating about my upcoming meeting with Winona. That would be petty. But I can't deny that I'm anticipating the moment when she learns the truth. Looking at the picture of Evelyn on my bedside table, I smile. Tomorrow is going to be an interesting day, darling. It's a shame you won't be around. But part of me believes she will be. Somehow she'll be watching and perhaps quietly applauding. The Grand Palace Hotel looks impressive. The glass facade reflects the setting sun. Expensive cars are lined up at the entrance. Aurora Innovations' corporate event is always a big deal. Horace likes to emphasize the company's success, especially in front of clients and partners. I drive up to the hotel by cab. I decided not to take my old car. Everything has to be impeccable today. The driver opens the door and I get out, adjusting my tie. I'm wearing a new suit, polished shoes, and an expensive watch, a gift from Evelyn for our last anniversary. I feel strange, like I'm wearing someone else's skin, and at the same time, it feels painfully familiar. It's how I've dressed every day for 20 years. A young man stands at the entrance with a guest list. He gives me a professional look. "Good evening, sir. Your name?" "Oh no, Waldron Pembroke." He runs his eyes down the list, finds my name, and nods respectfully. "Welcome, Mr. Pembroke. Please proceed to the main hall. The event is about to begin." Inside the hotel, it's noisy and crowded. Aurora employees mingle with clients and partners, all in evening wear, glasses in hand, engaged in animated conversation. The lights are dimmed. Soft music is playing. In the center of the hall, there is a small stage with a microphone for upcoming performances. I notice a few familiar faces from the company's management. Adrian Porter, the CFO, is talking to a group of men in expensive suits. Noticing me, he nods slightly, coldly but politely. Our relationship has remained strained since our first meeting. Philip Raven, the executive director, medium height, overweight, with a friendly face and balding hair. "Mr. Pembroke, glad you could make it." He shakes my hand. "Are you nervous about the announcement?" "A little," I admit. "It's been a while since I've spoken in public." "It'll go great." He smiles encouragingly. "The team is ready for a change. Horace spoke of you with great respect. I hope to live up to his trust." "I'm sure you will." Philip looks around at the crowd. "I'm going to go make sure everything's ready for the presentation. I'll be back for you soon." He leaves, maneuvering between the guests. I'm alone and uncomfortable. In my retirement years, I've gotten used to noisy events. I take a glass of mineral water from the tray of a passing waiter and step back against the wall, watching what's going on. Suddenly, I notice her. Winona. She stands in the center of a group of young employees, laughing loudly, gesticulating vigorously. She is wearing a tight black dress with a deep neckline. Her hair is styled in a complicated hairstyle. Bright red lipstick, massive earrings, shoes on dizzying heels. She looks like a woman confident in her attractiveness and influence. Our gazes meet for a moment, and I see her tense up. I recognize it. Her eyes widen with surprise, then narrow. She says something to her companions and heads toward me, stamping her step. "Waldron?" Her voice sounds incredulous. "What are you doing here?" "Good evening, Winona." I calmly sip my water from my glass. "It's a lovely event. It's a private corporate event." She lowers her voice, but you can hear the irritation building. "How did you get in here?" "I got an invitation." "An invitation?" She snorts. "From who?" "Company executives." Winona looks at me with undisguised suspicion. "Is this some kind of joke? You can't be here. This is for employees and important clients." "I'm aware of that," I reply calmly. "Look," she takes a step closer, lowering her voice to a whisper. "I don't know how you got in here, but you'd better leave. Now, before anyone notices." "I'm afraid that's not possible." "So why is that?" Her eyes narrow dangerously. "I have business here." "Business?" She doesn't hide her contempt. "What business could you possibly have in my company?" "Technically, Winona, it's not your company." "Don't play word games with me." Her patience is clearly wearing thin. "I'm the deputy head of marketing, and I'm telling you to leave. Otherwise, there will be trouble." A young man approaches us, a colleague of Winona's, judging by the company badge on his lapel. "Is everything all right, Winona?" He looks at me worriedly. "No, James, it's not." She crosses her arms over her chest. This gentleman has somehow infiltrated our event. I think we should call security." James looks confused. Are you sure? Maybe he's a guest of someone in management? I know that person, Winona cut him off. "Hmm. He's my father-in-law, and he doesn't belong here." Your father-in-law? James shifts his gaze from her to me, clearly unsure of how to respond. Yes, and he has nothing to do with Aurora Innovations. She turns to me. Waldron, I don't know what kind of game you're playing, but it's over. Leave voluntarily or you will be escorted out. I calmly finish my water and place the empty glass on the tray of a passing waiter. I'm not going anywhere, Winona. Her cheeks flush with anger. James, call security. Why don't we talk to someone in management first? He tentatively suggests. No need, I'll take care of this myself. She turns around abruptly and takes a quick step toward the exit of the hall, where two large men in security uniforms are standing. I watch as she emotionally explains the situation to them, occasionally pointing in my direction. James shuffles awkwardly from foot to foot beside me. Excuse me, sir, but who are you exactly? You'll find out soon enough, I reply with a slight smile. Winona returns, accompanied by two guards. Her face is contorted with gloating. There he is, she points at me. This man has infiltrated a private event. He is neither an employee nor an invited guest. Please escort him out. The guards approach me. One of them, an older man, addresses me politely but firmly. Sir, may I see your invitation? I pull an envelope with the official Aurora Innovations logo from my inside jacket pocket and hand it to the guard. He opens it, examines the contents, and there's a noticeable change in his face. It's all right, sir. Sorry to bother you. What do you mean, it's okay? Winona snatches the invitation out of the guard's hands. There's been some kind of mistake. He can't. She stops talking after reading the text. Her face goes pale. It's a forgery, she says in a trembling voice. It must be a forgery. At that moment, Philip Raven approaches us. There you are, Mr. Pembroke, he smiles. We're ready to begin the presentation. They are waiting for you on stage. Winona shifts a shocked look from me to Philip and back again. Philip, do you know this man? Of course, he raises his eyebrows in surprise. This is Waldron Pembroke, our new acting CEO. Horace personally selected him for his absence. Winona's face stiffens. She opens her mouth but can't utter a word. I'll be right with you, Philip, I say calmly. Give me a moment. He nods and leaves. The guards retreat, apologizing. James stands with his mouth open, shifting his gaze from me to Winona. A small crowd of interested employees, attracted by the unusual scene, begins to gather around us. Guards, kick that beggar grandfather out, exclaims Winona hysterically, trying to save face. He can't be the director. This is some kind of mistake. James nervously leans towards her. Winona, hush. It really is Mr. Pembroke. I saw his name in the official press release this afternoon. He's the former head of Novatech, one of the biggest tech companies of the 90s and noughties. Winona freezes, digesting the information. The former head of... But that's impossible. He's just... She falls silent, looking at me with new eyes. You never said... You never asked, I answer flatly. Was too busy mocking my outdated views and old-fashioned habits. The color of shame and humiliation floods her face. A decent-sized crowd has already gathered around us, many whispering as they watch the drama unfold. Mr. Pembroke, please forgive me, she begins, but I raise my hand to stop her. I think we should continue this conversation later. I'm expected on stage now. I turn around and walk toward the stage, leaving Winona standing surrounded by curious colleagues. I can feel their gazes on my back, surprised, scrutinizing, evaluating. Many have probably heard Winona demanding that the beggar grandfather be kicked out. Such things quickly become corporate legends. I go up to the stage where I am met by Philip with a microphone. The hall gradually becomes quiet, all attention turns to us. Ladies and gentlemen, Philip begins, today I have the honor of introducing the man who will temporarily head Aurora Innovations during the absence of our founder and CEO, Horace Woodward. He pauses dramatically. Mr. Waldron Pembroke is a seasoned executive with over 30 years of experience in the technology industry. He founded and led Novatech for 20 years, has served on the board of directors of several major corporations, and is a close friend of Mr. Woodward. Horace has personally chosen him as someone he trusts with the future of the company. A whisper drifts through the room. I notice Winona standing against the far wall, pale with a frozen face. Next to her is James, saying something quietly in her ear. Probably more information about my past. Philip hands me the microphone. I take a deep breath, gathering my thoughts. It's been a long time since I've spoken in front of an audience like this, but skills, it turns out, are not forgotten. Good evening, I say in a firm voice. First of all, let me say that I am honored to be temporarily in charge of Aurora Innovations. Horace Woodward is a longtime friend and colleague of mine, and I will do my best to honor his trust. I pause, glancing around the room. Most of the faces express polite interest. Some are wary, others curious. Adrian Porter stands with his arms crossed over his chest, scrutinizing me. The company is in good shape thanks to the efforts of Horace and the entire team. However, there is always room for improvement. In the coming days, I plan to meet with all department heads to better understand the current projects and challenges. I intentionally don't look in Winona's direction, but I know she hears every word. My management style is based on 3 principles: transparency, efficiency, and accountability. I expect every employee to adhere to these principles. Performance will be evaluated objectively without regard to personal relationships or status. I say that last sentence with emphasis. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice Winona nervously tugging at the hem of her dress. In the coming weeks, we are going to undergo some changes, restructuring of some departments, optimization of processes, possibly new directions of development. I count on your support and professionalism during this transition period. I conclude my speech with standard phrases about teamwork and the bright future of the company. The audience applauds, discreetly but respectfully. Philip returns to the stage, thanks me, and announces the start of the buffet. As I descend from the stage, I find myself surrounded by people wanting to get to know each other. Heads of departments, key clients, partners. Everyone wants to exchange at least a few words with the new director. I shake hands, smile, answer questions. Part of me notes how easily I've returned to this role, as if I hadn't been retired for 5 years. Out of the corner of my eye, I notice Winona trying to make her way through the crowd to approach me. Her face expresses a strange mixture of panic, shame, and calculation. She clearly wants to explain herself, perhaps apologize, smooth over the incident. I pretend not to notice her attempts and continue talking to an important client. Let her be nervous. After I've finished talking, James walks up to Winona and says something insistently in her ear, pointing in my direction. She listens, nods, and her face turns even paler. Finally, James literally pushes her in my direction. She approaches with a strained smile as I finish my conversation with another person. Ah, Waldron. I mean, Mr. Pembroke, she stammered, trying to find the right tone. May I have a word with you in private? I'm afraid this isn't a good time, I answer coldly. I have a lot of meetings scheduled for tonight. Please, she says, a note of desperation in her voice. It's important. So are my responsibilities as the new head of the company, I parry. It's all. Speaking of responsibilities, I'd love to see you in my office at 9 o'clock Monday morning. We need to discuss the work of the marketing department. Sure, she nods quickly. I'll prepare a presentation on our current projects and... That won't be necessary, I interrupt. I've already read your department's reports. I have specific questions that we'll discuss in person. Her smile falters. Good. Now can we at least... Excuse me, they're waiting for me. I nod at the group of executives standing nearby. I'll see you Monday, Winona. I walk away, leaving her standing alone in the middle of the room. I feel the stares, some sympathetic, others gloating. News of the conflict has obviously already spread. I spend the next 2 hours talking to key company figures and important clients. Adrian Porter keeps to himself, but I notice that he is watching me closely. Philip Raven, on the other hand, doesn't stray far, ready to come to my aid or introduce me to the right people at any time. Winona remains at the event, but keeps a low profile. I see her nervously drinking one glass of champagne after another, smiling strainedly at her colleagues. Many avoid her. No one wants to be associated with someone who has publicly embarrassed herself in front of a new manager. Toward the end of the evening, when most of the guests have dispersed, James, the young man who was with Winona during the incident, approaches me. Mr. Pembroke, he extends his hand nervously. Allow me to introduce myself. James Knoll, Senior Analyst in the Marketing Department. Nice to meet you, Mr. Knoll. I wanted to apologize for what happened today. He speaks softly with genuine remorse. I didn't know who you were, if I had known. You did nothing wrong, I reassure him. In fact, you acted very professionally in an awkward situation. He's visibly relaxed. Thank you, sir. If I may. He hesitates, clearly unsure whether to continue. Yes? Winona. I mean, Miss Bright Pembroke. She's not a bad person. She's just sometimes too ambitious and doesn't always think before she speaks. I look closely at the young man. He's defending Winona, even though she embarrassed him. Interesting. I appreciate your loyalty, Mr. Knoll. It's a good quality. I'm pausing. But in business, you have to think before you speak or act, especially when it comes to a leadership position. He nods understandingly. Of course, sir. I just wanted to... I understand. I smile slightly. And don't worry, I'm not one to make decisions based on personal grudges. Thank you, Mr. Pembroke. He sighs with relief. I look forward to working with you. After he leaves, I am left almost alone in the empty hall. Winona has long since left, apparently unable to handle the pressure of the situation. I wonder if she's called Kenneth yet. Has she told him what happened? What was she feeling now? Shame? Fear for her position in the company? Or is she already planning how to turn the situation to her advantage? I hail a cab and leave the hotel. The night air is refreshing. I inhale deeply, feeling a strange mixture of satisfaction and fatigue. The first act of the drama has been played, and I have to admit it went even better than I expected. What will happen next? I don't know yet, but for the first time in a long time, I feel truly alive. And that feeling, it's worth it. My new office is spacious and elegant. Panoramic windows, a massive oak desk, leather armchairs. Horace's workplace. Mine now, at least temporarily. On the wall are photos of famous people, awards, diplomas, the mark of a successful career. I get to the office early, long before the workday starts. I want to settle in, prepare for my first meetings in my new position. Philip Raven, the CEO, is waiting for me with a pile of papers and a fresh cup of coffee. Good morning, Mr. Pembroke. How was your weekend? Calm, I reply, though that's not entirely true. Kenneth called 6 times, left a dozen messages. I didn't answer. I wanted to give him and Winona time to process the situation, and admittedly, I needed time to collect my thoughts. It wasn't going to be an easy conversation with my son. You look good, Philip said as I looked over the day's schedule. The suit suits you well. Thank you. Some things you quickly get used to again. I've been talking about you since Friday. He lowers his voice. The Miss Bright Pembroke thing has become, legendary? I raise an eyebrow. You could say that, Philip looks embarrassed. People are impressed by the way you reacted. Calm, dignified. It's created a certain authority. I nod. The corporate environment is a lot like a jungle. Showing strength and composure is often more important than actual accomplishments. What's on the schedule for today? A meeting with department heads at 9, a call with a major client from Seattle at 10:30, lunch with the board of directors at noon. After lunch, individual meetings with department heads. Add a meeting with Winona Bright Pembroke at 14:00, I said, and invite Pierce Langley for 15. Philip nods, making notes in his clipboard. One more thing, I add. I'll need a full audit of the marketing department for the last 6 months. All projects, budgets, deliverables. I'll make the arrangements. He looks at me with mild curiosity, but asks no questions. Professional? The day starts fast. The meeting with the managers is productive. I listen to their reports, ask questions, outline the first steps. Most give the impression of competent professionals. There are, of course, exceptions. Piers Langley, head of marketing and Winona's immediate boss, seems unsure. His presentation is confused, his answers to questions vague. He's either incompetent or hiding problems in his department. Or both. By noon, I get the first results of the marketing department audit. The picture is disappointing. Budget overruns, missed deadlines, customer dissatisfaction. Things are especially bad with the projects that Winona oversees. Lots of noise, presentations, loud statements, and minimal results. Lunch with the board of directors takes place in a tense atmosphere. Adrian Porter, the CFO, is clearly unhappy with my appointment. He asks tricky questions, alluding to my age and long absence from the business. I parry calmly, with a touch of irony. The rest of the board watches our verbal duel, assessing the new leader. Finally, it's time to meet with Winona. She enters the office at 2 o'clock, sharp, impeccably dressed. A strict business suit instead of the usual colorful outfits, minimal makeup, hair gathered in a neat bundle, trying to look serious and professional. "Good afternoon, Mr. Pembroke." Her voice sounds formal, without the usual swagger. "Have a seat, Ms. Bright Pembroke," I reply, deliberately using her double last name and formal address. She sits down across from me, her back straight, her hands folded in her lap. Nervous, though she tries to hide it. "First of all, I would like to apologize deeply for the misunderstanding at the corporate event." She's speaking in rote sentences. "I was unaware of your appointment and acted on erroneous assumptions." "You didn't just act on faulty assumptions," I say calmly. "Sure, no. You publicly insulted someone you didn't know well based solely on appearances and your own prejudices." Her cheeks redden slightly. "I fully realize my mistake, and I am truly sorry." "Good. I'm opening the report folder. But I didn't invite you here to discuss personal relationships. We're going to have a serious conversation about your professional endeavors." Her eyes widen. "Professional? Cherie?" "Yes." I show her a chart. "These are the marketing department's project performance numbers for the last 6 months. Your projects are highlighted in red. As you can see, the results are unsatisfactory." She studies the document, and her face changes from confidence to confusion to panic. "But, these numbers don't tell the whole story. Many of the projects are in the long term and..." "I've read the full reports, Ms. Bright Pembroke." I'm interrupting her. "Even with a long-term perspective, your results are far below expectations. 30% over budget, missed deadlines, dissatisfied clients. But I've gotten great feedback from..." "Pierce Langley?" I raise an eyebrow. "Who's in danger of being fired for mismanagement of the department?" She's pale. "I didn't know." "Obviously." I close the folder. "Ms. Bright Pembroke, I value honesty and professionalism. I see neither in your work." "That's not fair." Her voice is shaking with indignation. "You're judging me prejudicially because of a personal relationship." "On the contrary." I look her straight in the eye. "I'm judging solely on performance, and they are unsatisfactory. Give me a chance to prove..." "I'm giving you a month," I interrupt her. 1 month to make things right with your current projects. After that, we'll get back to this conversation." The relief on her face turns to wariness. "What if I can't do it in a month? Then the company will have to reconsider your position." I say this without emotion, just stating a fact. She swallows. "I see. One more thing." I'm looking at her closely. "I know you're gunning for Pierce's job. Forget it. The department restructuring isn't going to promote you anytime soon." Her face contorts with anger for a moment, but she quickly pulls herself together. "I understand." "Good, that'll be all. I'm going back to the papers on my desk. The results of your projects will be reviewed personally, weekly." She stands up, still trying to maintain her dignity. "Thank you for your time, Mr. Pembroke." "Goodbye, Ms. Bright Pembroke." As she leaves, I feel strangely relieved. The conversation was unpleasant, but necessary. And it's not a matter of personal revenge. The department is really not working well, and Winona is one of the reasons. The meeting with Pierce Langley is even more tense. He tries to justify himself, blames it on his subordinates, on market conditions, on anything but his own incompetence. I give him the same deadline, a month to rectify the situation. In the evening, when the office is empty, I am alone in my office. I review reports, take notes, make a plan of action. The work takes me back to the old days. I feel alive, needed, important. It's a feeling I had almost forgotten during my retirement years. The phone rings when the clock reads almost 9 o'clock in the evening. Kenneth's number. I take a deep breath and answer. "Yes, son." "Why didn't you answer the phone?" His voice sounds strained. "I've been worried. I've been busy. New job takes time." "New job," he snorts. "You could have warned me you were going to be Winona's boss, and you could have told her what I was before I retired." I parry, "But I chose not to mention it." Pause. It's, it's hard to explain. Try, he sighs. Winona, she's very ambitious, proud of her accomplishments. If she knew you were the head of a big company, would she treat me with respect? I finish for him. And that's bad because? No, that's not it. He sounds annoyed. It's just that she and I have our own lives. Your past, your accomplishments are not part of our reality. His words hit me harder than I expected. Not part of our reality. As if I'm some kind of relic, a piece from a museum. Not a living person with experience, knowledge, history. I see. My voice sounds colder than I intended. And now you're unhappy that these two worlds have collided? I'm not happy that you gave Winona a public humiliation. He's almost shouting. She came home in tears. The whole office is laughing at her. I didn't humiliate anyone, I reply calmly. Winona created the situation by her own behavior. I was just in my place. You could have warned her. At least you could have warned me. Why? So you could warn her, so she could prepare herself, put on a mask of respect instead of the usual contempt? There's another pause. I can almost hear him fighting himself. She wants to apologize. In person. We're taking you to dinner. Winona already apologized today, officially. At work? He sounds surprised. Yeah, we had a meeting. How'd it go? Professionally. I don't go into details. We discussed her work and her prospects. Prospects? There's anxiety in his voice. You're not going to fire her, are you? It depends on her performance in the next month. Dad, he's outraged. This is personal revenge. You can't do this. Don't yell at me, Kenneth, I say quietly but firmly. I judge Winona's performance solely on objective measures, and they are unsatisfactory. Ask her. She knows what I'm talking about. That's not true. She's great. She's valued in the company. Appreciated by who, I ask. Pierce Langley. Who's on the verge of being fired? Or do you just believe what she tells me at home? He's not talking. I got a point. Look, son, my voice softens. I realize this is a difficult situation, but I'm acting in the best interest of the company Horace entrusted me with. If Winona is a good professional, she'll prove it with results. If not, she'll have to find another job. It's business, nothing personal. Since when did you become so, soulless? His voice is full of bitterness. Mom would never approve. Mentioning Evelyn hurts, but I don't show it. Your mother always valued honesty and fairness, and she didn't approve of people using family connections to advance their careers. Winona has never... Kenneth, I interrupt. Saram, we both know that Winona didn't get her position through talent alone. Her uncle had connections to the company. It's no secret. He stops talking. Then he sighs. Still, you could have done things differently. I might have, but what's done is done. I look at my watch. It's late now, and I have a busy day tomorrow. Okay, he sounds tired. But we need to talk in person. This is a conversation we can't have over the phone. I agree. Come to my place on Saturday. Without Winona. Why without her? She's part of the family. Because you and I need to talk like father and son. Just the two of us. Pause. Okay, Saturday. After talking to Kenneth, I feel tired. The day has drained me emotionally and physically. But at the same time, I feel a strange satisfaction. I'm back in business, back making decisions that affect people's lives, including my own family. The next few days pass in a whirlwind of meetings, decisions, and planning. I dive headfirst into work, often staying in the office late into the evening. The staff gets used to my leadership style, demanding but fair. Gradually, the initial shock of the change in leadership is replaced by routine. I see Winona in passing, in the corridors at general meetings. She is in... Sure, I nod, putting the papers aside. She looks tired, circles under her eyes, pale, tense posture. I've prepared an interim report on the Greenwood project. She holds out the folder. I know the weekly report isn't until tomorrow, but I wanted to show that we've already fixed the major flaws. I take a quick look at the documents. Indeed, progress is visible. Looks good. Keep up the good work. She doesn't leave, shuffling from foot to foot. Anything else, Ms. Bright Pembroke? Yes. She's taking a deep breath. I was wondering, Is it true that you were the head of Novatech? Yes, 20 years. 22 to be exact. She shakes her head as if she can't believe it. Why don't you ever talk about it? At family dinners, when I talked about my work. Did you ask? I look her straight in the eye. Ashwin, did you ever ask about my career? My experience? She looks down. No, I assumed that I was always just an old man with outdated views. I finish for her. Unworthy of your attention or respect. I was wrong, she says quietly, and I'm very ashamed. Shame is a useful feeling if it leads to change, or I reply. But let's keep the personal outside the office. I'm your supervisor here, and I only evaluate your work. Nothing more. She nods. I understand. Thank you for your time. As she leaves, I reflect on the strangeness of life. Until a month ago, Winona thought I was a worthless old man, worthy only of ridicule. Now she stands before me, nervous and ingratiating. Power changes people's perceptions. I've known that for a long time, but I've never felt it more acutely. On Friday, I get the weekly reports from all departments. Marketing shows improvement, albeit slight. Pierce Langley is nervous in our meeting, trying to put the situation in the best possible light. I listen to him half-heartedly. The decision to restructure the department has already been made. Mr. Langley, I say as he finishes his report, I appreciate your efforts, but I think the department needs more serious changes. What kind of changes? He tenses. I've prepared a restructuring plan. I hold out a folder to him. Read it and give me your comments by the end of the day. He takes a quick look at the document and his face changes. But it's a complete restructuring of the department. New positions, new structure, new KPIs. Exactly. And my position? He keeps flipping through the pages and pales. You're creating the position of creative director instead of head of marketing? Yes, with a focus on strategy and creative, no administrative functions. I think it's more in line with your strengths. It's a polite way of saying he's incompetent as an executive. He understands that. And who's going to run the department? The new marketing director. I'm already in talks with several candidates. I see. His shoulders are slumping. It's a demotion. It's a change of focus, I correct him gently. Surihi, with salary and status intact. He nods, grateful for this small favor. And how will it affect the rest of the staff? The deputies? The position of deputy manager is being abolished. Instead, 3 equally important positions are being created as heads of digital marketing, traditional media, and client relations. And Winona? He looks up at me. She's yours, isn't she? Family ties are irrelevant, Mr. Langley. I say that firmly. Ms. Bright Pembroke will be evaluated on the same criteria as everyone else. If she proves her competence, she'll get one of the new positions. If not, she'll stay in a specialist position or find a job with another company. He nods, but I see doubt in his eyes. He doesn't believe I can be so impartial. Well, time will tell. After he leaves, I call Horace at the Mayo Clinic. He sounds fainter than he did a week ago, but he's still upbeat. How's it going, old man? He asks after an exchange of greetings. I'm getting up to speed. A lot of things need changing, especially marketing, huh? I smile. He always knew where the problems were. Already preparing the restructuring. And how's your sister-in-law? You can hear the curiosity in his voice. Did she make a scene? That's not the word. I briefly recount the events at the corporate party. Horace laughs, then coughs. Damn shame I wasn't there. Would have paid to see her face. You'll see it for free when you get back. I'm getting serious. How's your treatment going? It's hard, he admits. But the doctors say there's progress. The tumor has shrunk a little. That's great news, Horace. Yes, but there's still a long way to go. He sighs. Thanks for keeping me company. I know it's not easy, especially with the family complications. I can handle it, and I really believe that. I'm sure you do. He pauses. By the way, Adrian Porter called me, complaining about your authoritarian management style. Not surprising, I snicker. He's gunning for your job. And he's going to be a stickler, Horace warns me. Be careful with him. He's powerful on the board of directors. I'll keep him in mind. After talking to Horace, I feel energized. Despite all the challenges, professional and personal, I'm on the right track. The company needs change, and I can make it happen. And as for the family, well, some relationships need to be reevaluated too. As I'm getting ready to go home in the evening, I notice a light on in Winona's office. She's still working, leaning over her computer. I wonder what is driving her now. Is it fear of losing her job or a genuine desire to prove her competence? Probably both. Kenneth is going to have a difficult conversation tomorrow. I don't know how it will end, but I'm sure of one thing. I will no longer be the man Winona used to mock at the dinner table. That outdated old man whose opinion doesn't matter. I'm back to being what I've always been. A decision maker. A man to be reckoned with. And that, perhaps, is the lesson for all of us. The 3 weeks flew by with a lot of hard work. I was fully immersed in the company, spending 12 to 14 hours in the office every day. Evelyn called it my work trance, a state where the outside world ceases to exist. Only tasks, decisions, and results remain. The restructuring of the marketing department was in full swing. Piers Langley reluctantly accepted his new role as creative director without administrative authority. I hired a new marketing director, a young but experienced woman from a competing company. Her job was to get the department out of crisis in 3 months. Winona worked her ass off trying to salvage her projects and prove her worth. Every morning she was the first to arrive, the last to leave. Reports became more accurate, presentations more meaningful. She was trying, it was obvious. But some problems can't be solved by diligence alone. Our conversation with Kenneth that Saturday had been complicated. He came in angry, ready to accuse me of every mortal sin. I remained calm as I explained my position. "It's just revenge," he said, pacing around the living room. "You are taking revenge on Winona for treating you without proper respect." "If I wanted revenge," I replied, "I would have fired her on the first day. Instead, I gave her a chance to prove her professional worth. You humiliated her in front of her coworkers." "Ontum, I didn't humiliate anyone. Winona created this situation by her own behavior. We talked for a long time." Gradually, his anger changed to bitterness, then to fatigue. At the end of the conversation, he confessed, "You know, Dad, I don't think I know you or Winona as well as I thought I did." It was the first sincere sentence of the whole evening. Now, 3 weeks later, in front of me lies a folder of papers I never expected to see. James Knoll, a young analyst in the marketing department, brought them in this morning, nervous, pale, but determined. "I think you should see this, sir," he said, holding out the folder. "I've been hesitant for a long time about whether to, but it affects the whole team." Inside is evidence of Winona's unprofessional behavior. Screenshots of emails where she maligned colleagues and superiors. Internal documents she shared with competitors. Falsified campaign performance reports. And, most embarrassingly, recordings of conversations where she brags about her connections to me. Her director-in-law, who wouldn't dare fire her. "Where did you get this?" I asked James. "Different sources." He was clearly out of his depth. "Some of it is from the company's public chat rooms. Some of it from colleagues who could no longer tolerate her behavior." "Why did you choose to share this with me?" "Because it's wrong." He looked me right in the eye. "Ms. Bright Pembroke is undermining the entire department. She's using you, telling everyone she can do whatever she wants because you won't fire a relative." I've been going over documents all day. Checking, double-checking, consulting with company lawyers. Everything checks out. I was especially hurt by what she said about how she was manipulating the old man and using family connections. By 4 o'clock, I had made a decision. A hard one, but a necessary one. The secretary was instructed to invite Winona to my office at 5, and also to summon a representative from HR and security. At exactly 5 o'clock, she enters the office, focused, professional, with a folder of documents. She is visibly surprised to see Rebecca from HR and Mark from security. "Good evening," she says hesitantly. "I've prepared the report on the Armitage project, as you requested." "Thank you, but it's no longer required," I reply flatly. "Have a seat, Ms. Bright Pembroke." She sits down, clutching the folder nervously. Rebecca and Mark stand by the door, silent, serious. "What's going on?" Winona shifts her gaze from me to them and back again. I open the top folder on the desk. "Miss Bright Pembroke, it has come to my attention that you have engaged in unprofessional behavior, violating corporate ethics and possibly the law." Her face pales. I don't know what you mean. Here are copies of the emails you sent to a competing company. I show the first document, with internal information about Aurora Innovation Strategy. This, it's not what it looks like. She licks her lips nervously. I was just consulting with a colleague. Here are the falsified campaign reports, I continue, ignoring her excuses, with inflated figures and hidden expenses. You presented them to the management to hide the inefficiency of your projects. She remains silent, staring at the papers with wide open eyes. And finally, here are tapes of your conversations with your coworkers, where you brag about your family ties to me and how you use those ties for personal gain. That's personal correspondence. She's outraged. Who gave you the right? These are company chats and company emails, Rebecca interrupts. According to Aurora Innovation's policy and your employment contract, the company has the right to monitor all communications made through corporate systems. Winona swallows, her hands shaking. Now what? Ms. Bright Pembroke, I say in an official tone, based on the evidence I have gathered of your numerous violations of corporate ethics and professional standards, Aurora Innovations is terminating your employment, effective immediately. She looks at me as if she can't believe what she's hearing. You're firing me? You can't. I can, and I am, I reply calmly. However, Rebecca will give you all the necessary paperwork. Mark will escort you to your workplace, where you will collect your personal belongings and then leave the building. Your pass and company phone will be deactivated. This is illegal. She's jumping out of her seat. I'm going to sue. I'll tell everyone this is a personal vendetta. You are free to go to court, I say nonchalantly. All evidence of your wrongdoing will be presented, including passing confidential information to competitors, which could be considered industrial espionage. She freezes, realizing the gravity of the situation. You wouldn't dare, she says quietly. Kenneth will never forgive you for this. This is between me and my son, I answer firmly. Now we're talking about your professional behavior, which is unacceptable in our company. Your company, she chuckles bitterly. It was yours all along. You were just playing the part of a harmless old man. And you were... Miss Bright Pembroke, Rebecca intervened, please follow me. We'll draw up the necessary paperwork. Winona looks at me with undisguised hatred. You're going to regret this, she hisses. I'll tell Kenneth what you're really like. You're free to say whatever you want, I replied calmly. But the facts will remain facts. She turns and walks out of the office, accompanied by Rebecca and Mark. I'm left alone with a heavy feeling in my chest. This was necessary but unpleasant, and the consequences for family relationships will be serious. An hour later, Rebecca returns. It went emotionally, she reports, but Ms. Bright Pembroke has left the building. Her access has been deactivated. Legal is preparing documents in case of a lawsuit. Thank you, Rebecca. I nod. Please prepare an announcement for the staff. Dry facts, no personal details. Dismissal for violation of corporate ethics, period. Will do. After she leaves, I sit in the silence of the office, staring out the window at the evening city. The phone on my desk is silent, but I know it will ring soon. It won't take Kenneth long to hear the news. And indeed, around 9 p.m., just as I'm about to leave, the phone rings. It's my son's number. Yes, what have you done? His voice is shaking with rage. You fired Winona? Yes, I answered calmly, and I had good reasons. What reasons? He's almost shouting. It's petty revenge. Low, petty revenge. Come to my house, I say. This isn't a phone call. I'm on my way, he replies and hangs up. I gather my papers, take copies of all the evidence of Winona's misdeeds and leave the office. On the way home, I mentally prepare myself for a tough conversation. Kenneth is furious. He won't listen. At least not at first. But I have proof, and it speaks for itself. At home, I make tea for me and my son. The same tea we used to drink when he came to me for advice when he was a student. Evelyn always said that good conversation starts with good tea. Kenneth arrives half an hour later, bursting into the house without knocking, his face flaming with anger. How could you? He blurts out from the doorstep. She's your daughter-in-law, my wife. Hello, son, I say calmly. Come in, sit down. We're having a serious conversation. Serious talk? He snorts. After what you did, especially after that, he walks reluctantly into the living room, but refuses to sit down. He stands with his arms crossed over his chest. Well, what excuse have you come up with for your revenge? I'm opening the file. This isn't revenge, Kenneth. It's a business decision based on facts. Winona violated corporate ethics and possibly the law. What other violations? What are you talking about? I'm showing him the first document. Screenshots of Winona's correspondence with a competitor. Your wife was passing confidential information to a competitor. That's not just a breach of employment contract. It could qualify as industrial espionage. He runs his eyes over the text. His face changes. It could have been a simple counseling session. Read it more carefully. It conveys data on the customer base, on pricing, on development plans. He falls silent, rereading. Further, I continue, pulling out the next document. Falsified reports. Winona systematically inflated the results of her projects and hid expenses to make herself look more successful than she really is. He's going over the numbers, comparing versions of the reports. It could have been a mistake. It's in 6 mistakes in one direction, always in her favor. I shake my head. Kenneth, don't be naive. His shoulders slump, but he's still fighting back. Even so, that's no reason for immediate dismissal. There could be a reprimand, a warning. And finally, I pull out the last document, the most unpleasant. Here are the transcripts of Winona's conversations with her colleagues. Read what she says about you, about us. He takes the printouts and begins to read. His face changes. Surprise, disbelief, hurt. Kenneth, a bimbo who does whatever I say. The old man wouldn't dare touch me. He's afraid of losing his precious son. I'm taking full advantage of this situation. Family connections are a great career bonus. Kenneth slowly sinks into his chair, still holding the papers in his hands. This can't be true. These are corporate chats and emails, all recorded, all verifiable. He sits in silence, digesting the information. I pour him a cup of tea, put it next to him. It's like the good old days when he had a problem and came to me for advice. Why? He finally says. Why would she do that? Ambition, I answer simply. A desire to advance at any cost. A belief that the end justifies the means. She said she loved me. His voice sounds lost. Maybe she does, in her own way. I sit across from him. But love and respect are different things. She doesn't respect you, Kenneth. She didn't respect me until she found out about my situation. He looks at the papers, then at me. You could have just shown me that. You didn't have to fire her publicly, humiliate her. I didn't humiliate her. The dismissal was done by all the rules, with confidentiality. I'm pausing. But I couldn't keep her at the company. She's a threat to the business. She's my wife, he says quietly, and I'm your father. I look him in the eye. And I will never betray you, never use you, never talk about you with contempt behind your back. He lowers his gaze. What am I supposed to do now? That's for you to decide, son. I shrug my shoulders. I can't tell you what to do about your marriage. I can only advise you not to rush into it. Talk to Winona. Listen to her side of the story. But remember these documents. They don't lie. He nods, then looks up at me. Was that decision easy for you? To fire her? No, I answer honestly. I knew it would hurt you, that it would create tension between us, but I couldn't do otherwise. It would have been wrong, both professionally and morally. Professional ethics, he chuckles bitterly. More important than family? In this case, yes. I don't look away. Because this family was built on lies and manipulation. Winona used you, used me, betrayed the company that trusted her. He remains silent, staring into space. Then he takes a sip of his cooled tea. You know, after the corporate party, she was hysterical. She said you'd set it all up on purpose to humiliate her, that you were a vindictive old man. And you believed her. Yeah, he sighs. I believed her because it was easier to blame you than to admit that my wife could be like that. I don't answer. I just wait for him to collect his thoughts. She's changed since the accident, Kenneth continues. Fidgety, nervous, always talking about work, about projects, about trying to impress you. She had been working really hard the last few weeks, I admitted, but apparently it wasn't enough, or too late. He gets up, walks over to the fireplace. He looks at the photos, his childhood pictures, his wedding photo with Winona, a portrait of Evelyn. My mom always said Winona wasn't the woman to make me happy, he says thoughtfully. I didn't listen. I thought she was just being picky, that no one would be good enough for her son. Your mother had a way of seeing through people, I say quietly. It was her gift. And a curse. And you, he turns to me. Did you see through Winona too? No, I shake my head. Sharonaturm. I just saw the way she treats you, the way she talks about you, the way she looks at you when she thinks no one can see, with slight contempt, with weariness, like a burden. He flinches as if from a blow. You've never talked about it. Would you have listened? I raise an eyebrow. Or would you just assume I'm meddling, that I'm trying to destroy your family? He doesn't answer, and that's an answer in itself. What happens next? He asks after a pause. With the company? We'll find a new employee to take Winona's place. Life will go on. No, I mean, with us, you and me. I look at my son, a grown man, a successful lawyer, and yet a confused boy who doesn't know what to do. It's up to you, Kenneth. I will always be your father. I'll always be there for you if you need me. But I won't apologize for doing the right thing. And I won't pretend your marriage is healthy and happy when it isn't. He nods, accepting my words. I have a lot to think about everything. Of course. He gathers up the papers, putting them back in the folder. Can I take this? I want to, talk to Winona. Show her. Take it. I have copies. He's on his way out, stops at the door. Thank you, Dad, for the truth. Even if it hurts. The truth is always better than a pretty lie, son. Sooner or later. After he's gone, I sit in silence for a long time, looking at Evelyn's portrait. I did what I had to do, as the head of the company, as a father, as a man with principles. You did the right thing, Evelyn would say, but doing the right thing doesn't always lead to a happy ending. I know that. I know that my relationship with my son will never be the same, that his marriage may break up, that there are hard times ahead for all of us. But there's another side to it. I feel alive again, significant, a person who makes decisions and takes responsibility for them, a man that Evelyn would be proud of. And right now, in the silence of an empty house, that's enough. It's been 5 months since I fired Winona. 5 months of change, both in the company and in my life. I stand at the panoramic window in the office of the director of Aurora Innovations and watch the sunlight play on the glass facades of the neighboring buildings. Today is a special day. Horace is coming back. His treatment took longer than anticipated. The experimental therapy produced complications and additional rehabilitation was required. But now he is healthy as possible for a man who has beaten pancreatic cancer. The staff has gathered in the lobby. Everyone wants to greet the returning founder. Many are holding flowers, gifts, cards with wishes. The atmosphere is festive, uplifted. Horace enters, thin with thinning hair, but with the same sparkle in his eyes. Applause, greetings, hugs. When he sees me, he smiles broadly and comes toward me. Wall, old boy. He hugs me tighter than I expected. How glad I am to see you. Likewise, Horace. You're looking good. You lie and you don't blush. But I like that lie. Let's go into the study. We need to talk. In the office, Horace gets right to the point. Wow, I want you to stay on the board of directors of Aurora Innovations. I'm surprised. I didn't expect this. Horace, I appreciate the offer, but there's no buts. You saved the company, pulled it out of stagnation. A lot of people didn't believe you could do it, but you proved to them all that it's too early to write us off. Besides, he continued, I can't work the way I used to. The doctors have told me not to. I need someone I trust to share the load. I think about it. The offer is tempting. These months of work have given me back my zest for life, my sense of meaning and purpose. I'm flattered by your offer, and I accept. On one condition, your schedule must be flexible. It's a deal. 3 days a week works for you. I'm good. We shake hands, sealing the deal. How's your son? Horace asks. And your ex-daughter-in-law? Kenneth. It's not easy. We communicate, but there's tension between us. He can't quite forgive me for firing Winona, though he admits I had my reasons. And her? They're divorcing. Kenneth found evidence of her cheating. Turns out professional impropriety was only part of the problem. And how did she take it? Not well. First she tried to deny it, then she blamed me for tampering with the evidence. Started spreading rumors about me in the professional community. And how did that affect your reputation? It didn't. She had no weight in the industry. Besides, the results speak for themselves. The company's thriving. And you? How do you feel after all this? I feel, free. Free from falsehoods, from toxic relationships, from being the harmless old man who can be ignored. After the transfer of power ceremony, I come home. In the mailbox is an envelope from Kenneth inviting me to dinner. Just you and me, Dad. We need to talk. It's the first step toward reconciliation, not a complete repair of the relationship. There's too much hurt and resentment on both sides, but a step in the right direction. On the day of the meeting, I carefully choose a suit. Not too formal, but not casual either. Something in between, like our relationship now, balancing between alienation and reconciliation. The restaurant hasn't changed since Evelyn and I used to come here every month. Kenneth is already waiting at a table. He looks better than the last time we saw him less tense. Hi, Dad. He stands up and hugs me awkwardly. It's the first hug I've had in months. After exchanging pleasantries, Kenneth gets to the point. I wanted to apologize, Dad, for not believing you, for accusing you of being vindictive when you were just doing your job. You were protecting your wife. That's natural. But I had to see the truth. All the signs were there. I just ignored them. Love often blinds us, son. It wasn't love. It was a convenient deal. I was getting a beautiful, ambitious wife. She gets access to my connections, status, finances. She tried to smear you, you know, telling everyone you were a tyrant who destroyed our family over old grudges. I know she did. I didn't let her. I told the truth to those who asked. Thank you, I say, touched by his support. It's the least I could do. I hear you're staying at Aurora Innovations? Yes, Horace suggested it, and I accepted. I'm happy for you. You need it. Purpose, work, recognition. I missed it after I retired, after your mom died. Why didn't you ever talk about it? I guess I didn't want to be a burden. I didn't want you to feel responsible for my happiness. You were never a burden, Dad. You're my dad, the only parent I have left. After dinner, when we say goodbye, he hugs me tighter. I love you, Dad. I love you too, son. Saturday, Horace and I go golfing for the first time in years. On the way, we discuss future plans for the company and our own. Life is too short to waste it on regrets, Horace says. You have to move forward, try new things, take risks. It's never too late to start a new chapter, I agree. On the golf course, we are greeted with respect two successful businessmen whose experience and wisdom are valued more than gray hair. No one looks at us condescendingly. We are equals among equals here. I take the first shot and watch the ball fly in a perfect trajectory, just like my life is now, moving in the right direction with a clear purpose. 5 months ago, I was a lonely old man, not taken seriously even by my own family. Today, I am a respected leader, someone whose opinion is valued. I have regained control of my life. Yes, there were losses. The relationship with my son has changed, although it is beginning to recover. But there are more gains. A new job, new friends, new confidence. At 73, I am not ending my life. I am beginning a new chapter of it. Without toxic relationships, without the need to hide my accomplishments, without the fear of being me. A free man in a free world. And that is perhaps the main lesson of this whole story. It's never too late to change your life. It's never too late to demand the respect you deserve. At 73, I'm not ending my life. I'm starting a new chapter of it. Without toxic relationships, without the need to hide my accomplishments, without the fear of being me, a free man in a free world. And that is perhaps the main lesson of this whole story. It's never too late to change your life. It's never too late to demand the respect you deserve. It's never too late to become the person you want to be. Thank you, Winona, for that lesson. It's the only thing I'm grateful for.